Spoilers ahead, fucknuts.
The Fire Nation is embarked on a dark path. And the world might never recover. The world needs the Avatar. It needs you, Aang.
I'm back, bitches. Time to make something better than M. Night Shyamalan.
The Fire Nation has destroyed everything in their path. If the world is gonna have any chance, it's gonna need Aang.
Right. There goes the savior of the world.
Oh, that's so Sokka.
I've chased down every hint of the Avatar.
Yeah. Zuko's fucking jerk-off posters.
I'm not someone who can stop the Fire Nation. I don't want the responsibility.
Too bad, Aang. You're gonna be carrying this franchise now.
You have me, Tara, and a flying ball of fur. What more do you need?
My favorite character that's barely in the series. Let's go!
The world needs you. Remember what it is we're really fighting for. The ones we love.
I'm the Avatar, and I'm gonna save the world.
Thank fucking God.
With my friends.
Sure. Whatever, it'll take Aang. I swear, guys, I'm much better than M. Night Shyamalan's version. Up, 10 out of 10.
Hello, Pose.
And welcome to Spoiled It.
Yes, our weekly, sometimes bi-weekly podcast where we go into spoilers and review so we can give our full thoughts, full uninterrupted thoughts, spoilers and all, on all the recent TV shows and movies that have come out, with today being Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The Netflix version, yes.
Yes, because we've had multiple of this show now.
So many.
We had a original show that was a classic, much loved by many, and had a resurgence recently and is extremely popular now.
Good to see.
We had a sequel animated series, Korra, which was also really good. Not as good as the original, but really, really fun and great world building. And then we had one of the worst movies of all time, which we actually just talked about in
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's adaptation of The Last Airbender.
They didn't want Avatar anywhere in the title. The creators must have came in and said, no, you call it something else. No Avatar in there.
It'd be actually funnier if it was actually James Cameron.
That's what I was just going to say. I was like, what if it was that
James Cameron, I don't want the Avatar in that name. Get at it. Get it out.
Great minds think alike. I was literally going to say something about that James Cameron one.
Can't have Avatar. It's my Avatar.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're like, hey, you're not the only ones that have the name Avatar in title. Hey, fuck you. James Cameron already stole our shit. You're not using it.
You're not using it. Oh,
It'd be too complicated at that point. Even Nickelodeon was probably like, yeah, they are right. That would be like 3 avatars. Just
so they don't have to put it in there.
It's called Last Airbender. But anyway, this is called Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like, I think it's worthy enough of a live action adaptation that they were able to give it that title. And I think it does, without going too much into it yet, deserve to be called that at least.
Which had me worried too, especially after hearing of the original creators kind of dipping into
I think everyone was worried about that.
Yeah, everyone was
worried. And then I just think some recently kind of, or like some of the things they've been saying in the last few months have had me kind of worried too.
Yeah.
And then even seeing the trailer, I wasn't blown away, and I really thought from the trailer, I'm like, oh, they're just gonna suck all the fun out of this, aren't they? Where they're just Gonna kind of do an M. Night Shyamalan where it's probably gonna be better than that, but like they're just gonna make it so like it's a drama now, and there's like no comedy aspects like in there.
Aang is not
really.
the big goofy
Yeah.
goofball kid that he used to be.
And we're
He's
hap-
now torn by war.
We're
He's a
happy to
grizzled
say
veteran of
they
the war.
actually kept that element there pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, they did a good balance. Of
At least where
those.
it matters.
Yeah.
Like the most, I would say. Not everywhere, not as well as the original show, but where
Yeah.
people are really going to want it to be, like with the main 3 trio, I think there was great chemistry between these cast members here, and it really did sell me on like just kind of smiling at points or whatever, and like kind of feeling like, they kind of really did capture the magic like here at points,
Yeah, like though not without a few flaws, of course, that
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit about before, but it's still definitely a good, enjoyable series,
And I think-
definitely worth a good watch.
One of those flaws, I think, for people, just to go into that, is I think going to be that the fact that we binge watch this, as many are going to, because all 8 episodes are out on Netflix. Each episode's about, on average, 50 minutes. So I think there's kind of a bit of a pacing problem here, at least when you watch it like that, because there's so many moments where it's basically retreading the key points they know they have to get to from the original series.
Yeah, and they combined like different stories into the same story type of
Yup.
thing, and do various things like
And that works in some areas, but in others it doesn't work, or it
Like-
feels rushed.
the episode Omashu, where they go to Omashu, the big city where we're supposed to be introduced to Boomy and everything like that.
Yep.
And they but in that one they fuse the story with Jet, the engineer guy who they
Because
found.
the jet thing was just its own episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Jet was just his own episode. The engineer was his own episode where they found him in like one of the air temple type things, and Aang thought they were airbenders until they found out they're it's an inventor hanging out in the area.
And honestly, the way they like combine some of these things, it doesn't feel like it's like forced, but I think it is a problem because they are kind of rushing through each of the things, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get as much as you did with the original
Well,
series.
They're also just fusing and trying to connect the stories as if they're one story type thing. Like
True.
the Jet one was also connected to the engineer one in Omashu, as well as being in Omashu, where we also semi connected to Boomy, where Jet's basically trying to kill Boomy and the bunch of the other people he just doesn't want.
But a lot of that stuff didn't
Doesn't
bother
like.
me as much, like them trying to like intertwine the stories more. It was more the fact that like I didn't feel as much for some of those side characters as I did in the original show.
Yeah.
Kind of like you were saying about Boomy, where it's like I didn't like this interpretation as much. And,
Yeah,
and
like they look of him.
Yeah,
I was fine with.
exactly. The
They
look's
did a
fine.
good job, but they made Boomy into a real big like a very big war, like fucking guy. Like he was like a doomer in a way, and like, he's like, "Yep, this is just the way it is, Aang.
Yeah.
You've been away for 100." He kept like fucking trying to throw in Aang's face. You've been away for 100 years, Yang. You weren't there. You weren't in the fucking trenches like I was. Type of fucking mentality. Well, Boomy in the
This
original.
Boomy's seen shit.
Yeah, I mean, like but then in the original, Boomy's like, yeah, he's fucking seeing shit, but he doesn't try and hurt Aang like that by trying to make him feel guilty. He basically does he actually just does the tests to test if it actually is Aang at first, because like the meat and vegetarian thing to make sure
Yeah.
like that was one of the tests, and all this other shit to make sure he can airbend, blah blah. But they're all also to teach him a very like a different type of lesson, rather than like in this one, Boomy's like trying to say, "You gotta kill me, Aang. There's only way you can kill me." And then they tried to tie it in, and they got tied into with the Sokka and Katara sneaking in and helping Aang rather than being held hostage by Boomy, like in the original one.
He's trying to pull a General Zod. He's trying to get Aang to kill him.
Yeah, that is exactly what it seems like he's trying to do. Like, even though like granted. If in the original one, like Boomy, even if he did try to do that, probably wouldn't give, like, he'd be like, the moment Aang drops it, Boomy would just go under the ground like it's fucking water, like we see in the thing. He's like, whoop.
I think he was just more comedic in the original, and like to me it was almost one of those things where like from cartoon to live action, the adaptation of that character didn't work as well.
Yeah, like
I
mean,
think some of the goofy aspects even like it just doesn't mesh with like some of the other stuff they're trying to. I don't know what it is exactly.
They in the original. Remember in the original, he might have been like a little off his rocker at that time, but in a funny senile way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but he was still cognizant enough where he would remember he was part of the White Lotus, which is that whole secret organization comprised of different benders that try and control how politics work in the fucking in the fucking Avatar world.
Yo.
Basically fucking Freemasons, if you're one of those guys. But anyway,
and he wasn't as like he wasn't as dark, I think, as he was in this. Yeah, where he seemed like he had like seen more shit and like was.
Yeah, this one he was like a war veteran who was just crazy from it and just acted like a bit of an asshole at times. Yeah. You're like, God damn it, Boomy, you're not even trying to do this to teach Aang much of a lesson. You're just more of just. Kind of
you're just fucking with him.
Yeah, you seem you're like just really upset. Aang wasn't there when
you're a bitter old man. You're really just fucking with him.
Why didn't he help me?
So yeah, some of that stuff. It's not bad though. I think both of us were saying that it's just gonna have. I think for certain people it's gonna work better than others. Yeah. And
like, there was some, like I said, remember like the Jet time. They also made Jet less of a monster in this, like he was in the original.
But how do you think this sort of stuff is gonna be for people that like? Haven't seen any of Avatar.
If they haven't seen any of that type of stuff, they probably would get some enjoyment out of it, stuff like that. As a person if you're someone who's seen it before, you're gonna be a little maybe annoyed, like especially with the Spirit World episode, where they kind of fused like a lot. They kind of combined as many of the Spirit World plots into one like Spirit World adventure.
Even stuff from Korra kind of too, it seems, because didn't Korra go into the Spirit World?
Yeah, but this Avatar, like Aang does that too. Mm-hmm. He gets spirit away. It was like they combined the panda that was going on, this panda spirit that was going on a rampage because the forest was burnt down and stuff like that. They fused that. They for some reason threw the weird librarian owl that you're not supposed to see until
later
way
on
later
when they go to that library.
Yeah, they haven't even found Toph. Toph is in that fucking story. But
wasn't that in the desert or something?
Yeah, it was in the desert on a horse with no. I'm sorry, an air bison with no name. But anyway, they threw him in there. I think it was for some reason a weird reference. They just threw it in there probably as. And then they threw Ko, who I'm not gonna lie.
He did look fucking scary.
The look of Ko is spot on, as creepy as you'd fucking imagine.
But they rushed kind of that character a little bit too.
They changed the character a bit. Yeah. Like they made Ko more of try and make him look more of a sympathetic. When he's supposed to be like
he just wants family.
He's just an asshole in the original. He
just wants family too or something.
He's like if you show emotion in the original one, he would like steal your face.
I don't get why I feel like we've been doing that more nowadays, and I guess I kind of get it. Like obviously like there's a reason why some people are a monster or whatever, but like it's almost like with Joker and like other things recently, I feel like they're like, aren't they sympathetic or whatever? It's like, dude, Joker's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is. Don't make him sympathetic.
Joker's killed thousands of people. Like Joker's killed kids. Like Joker's. Why are we? What? Like.
But it is. But like for this one, it's like it's basically Ko is mad that the Avatar, like past incarnation Ryoko,
especially with such a primal force, like it's supposed to be. I thought,
that's what he is. He's a primal spirit. That's literally they actually. I thought that was
like a little weird that they like were trying to like.
He's a big mama's boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ryoko stole my gift my mom gave to me like 100 years ago and shit. And I'm so salty.
But it's just like how they said at the end of this show, like when Aang went into the crazy monster mode and just like gave into the darkness, like he'll never be able to escape. And then like Katara just talking basically got him out.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of that. It's kind of those dumb movie things sometimes or show things.
Yeah, that's a trope.
It's a trope in these sort of things, like love conquers all or whatever. It's
honestly, I'm just kind of happy they had the giant fish kaiju, unlike the M. Night Shyamalan version that just gave it a wave. It's a wave.
I feel you on it, but it's not something that like ruins it for me. You know, I just noticed that in a lot of things nowadays.
They really fucking rushed the storyline with the spirit, the moon spirits, the moon and ocean spirit. Though that seemed a little rushed because like you didn't even know they existed until like the last episode or like what was the second last episode or last episode? No, last episode.
Last, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very last one, and it's where General Zhao kills kills the moon spirit as it goes, but you didn't even know they just kind of. Oh, by the way, the spirits are here. What? I'm like, if someone, who's never seen it before is going to be wondering, what the fuck? Where'd this come from? Where'd this plot come from? As someone who's seen it, we already know what the fuck where it was going.
Yeah.
But
so it kind of has like that benefit for fans of the show, but also like those are going to be the same people that are a little critical of them like glossing over things or combining multiple elements and kind of rushing certain elements, I think, too. So I don't know what they were necessarily going for there, but
the weird thing
it's
too,
done pretty well.
The weird thing I still say is how it seems like Aang doesn't even know how to waterbend in this.
That's one of the things I wrote down here was Aang didn't learn any waterbending this season, which I'm assuming is because like next season they mainly focus on Katara learning waterbending this season. She's basically going to be the one that teaches him, it seems like.
Damn, she fucking got OP with the ice bending already, even before the North Pole.
Yeah.
But
and that was like another thing like we talked about with it being rushed, like, and I like the actress, let's see what her name is.
Funny enough, they skipped over the plot of which I guess is kind of a good thing because I know a lot of fans don't like it originally, the plot of Katara kind of being jealous of Aang in the beginning. Because Aang, remember, he's able to master fucking waterbending really quick. Because Korra actually goes surprisingly good into it, where depending on certain people's moods, especially if you're the Avatar, you have better way of mastering too in certain elements. Like Aang being the happy, goes with the flow, airbender type. He's really good actually at waterbending also. Then he needs more practice with earthbending. He really sucks at firebending until like Zuko helps him and stuff like that in the meeting with the dragons. But anyway,
Do you think this is going to be like 3 seasons like the show? And like, because that's what it seems like kind of.
I think that's what they're going to do. Though,
but I think that's going to hurt like kind of like what we're talking about with this, where like it's going to seem really rushed him learning all the other elements maybe.
Yeah, like I thought this season would have been good if they did just include all the small stories too, rather than just fusing them, but maybe slower paced, maybe a few more episodes. They didn't need to make like a fucking rush towards the North Pole.
I think the episodes should have been like a little shorter, like more 30 to 40 minutes.
Because there are good plots too they try and introduce into it, like the Zuko's
like the new stuff.
Yeah, some of the new stuff they actually included. That
I like all that.
They could have fleshed out the season with some of those little cool things, like Zuko's crew not liking him in the originally because Zuko like is always a hard ass to them.
And then
they find out Zuko saved their lives because they were meant for a suicide mission, but Zuko like actually stood up for them.
His dad's just a dick,
and it's just like,
if you love them so much,
you can have them.
Take the shittiest ones with you, bud.
Yeah, take the shitty rookies with you, bud. they're gonna be your crew now.
Well, that's another thing I really liked about this.
And then they respect him after finding that out, which I'm like, oh, that's
I
nice.
liked all the new stuff they added, like, because they bring Azula into the story, which, like I was telling you, I didn't dislike the actress, but I think that is one of the weaker castings where she doesn't seem as, like, crazy or, like...
She doesn't seem as menacing.
Unhinged, maybe, is kind of the word or something.
She doesn't get totally unhinged until later season.
Yeah,
but she's menacing in the beginning.
Yeah.
Her whole posture,
she has
it commands
authority. She has it in her,
Yeah.
You knew she had that unhinged part in her, so that was crazy to see it later.
But she commands authority, the way she postures herself, the way she acts. She seems a little bit more spoiled in this one, but I guess you can say they just kind of maybe added a little bit more to that. Because she's like in the original, she's more of a daddy's girl type of thing vibe to her, and then like gets a little pissy when her dad decides to leave her home. But that's like the final season. But in this one, she's more playing into the dad's thing rather than
trying to like basically like suck up to him so she can get what she wants.
Yeah, in this one she's more commanding.
Yeah,
or she will actively say, "Fuck you, Dad. I'm better than this," type of thing, which can sometimes work, sometimes not. If it was a more menacing person, I think it would have been a lot more.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Because like I was saying to you, I like what they kind of do with the character, bring them in earlier, and I think the way they bring it into Zuko's story too.
Yeah, with the General Zhao, and apparently he's getting the info from of Azula and stuff like that. I'm like, that's a cool little detail.
No, exactly. Nice. I was like, you know what? That's actually like not a bad way to like. Because, like, I was wondering, like, why bring her in earlier, though? So I like that they did it, and it actually has a reason, and it kind of makes sense. I guess we'll see how they follow up from here, because that also really matters, as we know of a lot of things.
They also killed off General Zhao, too, in this.
Yeah, which is a shame, because I really like that actor.
He was such a good bad guy. He was an absolute dickhead.
I really like Ozai in this, too, but I actually thought Commander Zhao was like really, really fucking good in this.
Oh yeah, he's like a plotting just asshole. That
So
the people you hate, he was a good embodiment, but they kind of Iroh torched his ass.
Yeah.
Literally burned him alive. Which I'm like caught me off guard. I'm like, what the damn, Iroh? Just fucking killed Shao like that.
He's like, I'm not losing another son.
I mean, like, I understood the reasoning. I'm not denying that, but the fact that he just kills him straight up was
I
surprising.
know. I was kind of surprised by that as well.
Oh, also the weird swearing for some reason they had to add in the last 2 episodes.
Yup.
Just Sokka saying ass.
I know.
I know it's not much, but it's weird that they.
Well, that's just the
felt
fact
like
that we
they
both
wanted
kind of
to throw it
talked about that. I mean, that's like one of the things. This is where you get the pluses and minuses of PG-13. Like we talked about, like I think one of the pluses is with like villains like Zhao and Ozai.
They straight up kill people
Yeah,
in
they
this.
straight up kill people, and they're more intimidating in this.
Oh, yeah.
And they are able to have more character in this show, actually. So this is like why I think like people should still check this show out, but definitely like take your time with it. If you're an Avatar fan, you've seen like Avatar multiple times, or Korra multiple times, or even the shitty M. Night Shyamalan movie, which we've only probably seen once. I don't know who would watch it more than once, but
You made me. You made me watch it more than once.
Oh yes, sorry, you're one of the rare few.
Anyway.
You just joined the 5 other people in the world. Who's seen it 3 times though? But yeah, I think if you're someone that's a super fan, you're gonna have to kind of be careful here, because I think if you're to binge it, there's gonna be a lot more that you're gonna get annoyed by, or just even kind of sit there and get a little bored with it at points, because it does retread like key moments from the series.
Yeah, like they do
Just not
also
as well
bring up,
a lot of the time.
They also bring up like various storylines that you would see in the later parts of the seasons, or in another season, into this one.
Yep.
Such as Zuko saving Iroh from the Earthbenders.
Yep.
In this one, it's Omashu people rather than like.
And even kind of the whole
Blessings.
Azula thing, because she's not even really in the first season.
Or it was the Earthbender bounty hunters type people that took Iroh before, and Zuko saved him. Now it's Omashu people, but
Yeah.
that they also have Aang visiting Ryoko's shrine. I think if I remember right, it's earlier than its original. Like, and that was he went to go visit Ryoko not for the comet information or anything. He did it for to get information about Ko, because Ko in this one has Katara and Sokka as hostages and stuff like that. And he wants to find out how to beat Ko, and he found out Avatar Ryoko took his mommy's present. But they also made like I think Avatar Kyoshi, they did a good job, her representation for it. Like, the stern, willing to fuck up people. They made her really angry for whatever reason, rather than like just being a tough, stern Avatar. But whatever. Ryoko they made into a weirdly goofy goofball.
I feel like they were all a
type
bit
of
more
character.
goofy, besides Kyoshi, basically.
Yeah, like Ryoko was always remembered as stern, like not angry, just like he was the serious, like saying this is giving the wise information type stuff.
It's like they did that so they could show how they were all kind of similar to Aang, but then it was kind of weird that they made the point like
they all wanted Aang to go killing so
immediately
badly.
after they like after you're almost getting that sort of vibe, they try to make the point like we're all different though, like we're not the same. Like
Ryoko did he was like we're all our own people, we're not all
like, why are you all
like
goofballs like Aang,
but
man? Like,
they're all pushing him to start killing people right away, because it's like I mean, and that is a big plot of the original of Aang like not wanting to hurt people, especially going Avatar state.
It seems a little more one note here, I think, though, with like them
This
kind
one
of
was
telling
just-
him the same thing almost.
Yeah,
when
they
you
were
go through
straight
each
up
of them,
saying, "Yeah, you got to kill."
Or you got to do this on your own and basically kill. Like they were giving.
It didn't feel like wise advice. It felt more like them telling him what to do, rather than them telling him stuff for him to figure out on his own.
Even though they always make that point too, like we're not telling you what to do,
but you should kill him. You should absolutely murder that person.
Aang, I want to be clear here.
You also can't have friends.
Aang, I want
friends.
Aang, I want to be clear here. In no way am I telling you what to do. But you have to do this alone, and you can't have friends. Like,
yeah, exactly. You got to murder this guy. You can't have friends. Buckle up, shut the fuck up. Other than that, be your own person, Aang. It's like, what?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, like, it is kind of cool, the fleshing out of, like, what was the waterbender avatar that he like? They
That's what I was gonna ask you. What
they
was
did
that one's
flesh out,
name?
or like I don't. That guy
See.
does not have a big role in the original one. He like barely know anything about that one, but
I don't think it's listed here.
it was cool. It was
That one was featured very shortly though, like towards the end, right?
Yeah, he was. It was cool. Like they brought up like the idea of the Avatar balancing the spirit or more. They using him. It's like, oh yeah, Avatar has to do balance and he has to do help in the spirit world too. And then like you also saw like the original Water Tribe people like, yeah, he didn't really spend much time with us. He mostly just kept doing stuff in the spirit world, and then you find out later, and it's like he's like, oh, I was combating evil fucking spirits in the spirit world that would have fucked up this world too. So I was doing, and you're like,
And he kind of fucked himself over, didn't he? Like where he got scarred from it or something.
it was he lost his girl. I think the girl he liked or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it was to Kia with Ko also,
yeah.
who stuck her face, and you saw that earlier. And I'm like, I can't stop gushing though over the co-design. They did Ko,
especially though when you saw them
so good.
slithering and like running after Aang.
Him
like,
switching
creepy,
faces too.
Yeah. That was really creepy.
Fucking
like, they
his
did a great
vagina,
job
fucking
with that.
eyeball looking face.
Yeah,
it turns
it was
into
just-
another face.
They should just make that a horror movie, like just people that have. It's
I-
called Ko.
I
It's
would
in
not
the Avatar
argue that.
universe. You just see like all the different people that have come across
Dude,
him.
I would love. Can you imagine if they made a new series where it's like the exploring of the spirit world more?
It could be
but it was like
cool.
during the older days or something like that.
Hopefully, with like them
Before
doing,
like the spirit world merged with the regular
I've
world.
heard the next
maybe.
thing we're
Or
getting
maybe
is
after that, too.
the original creators, like we talked about with the Avatar Studios they're doing now. They're supposedly making a movie coming out next December, I think, and it's gonna be like Aang, Sokka, Katara, like all in their 20s, basically.
Oh, like the
continuing
older
that sto-
versions,
yeah.
kind of like when we got the flashbacks to in Korra.
Yep.
Where you seeing like some stuff. That'd be cool.
Exactly. And
That'd
I'm
be
like,
kinda
well,
cool.
if it's the original creators attached, like I'm for it. Like that's probably gonna be fucking awesome.
If the original guys are working on it, I would definitely be fine. Be a lot more confident about it for sure.
But I think some of the only other points I wanted to get into here was the sets and the costumes were really,
good.
really good here.
Very good.
They were extremely accurate. Like it's not like the M. Night Shyamalan where it's like a mixed bag almost, where like some of it looks pretty good, but then others terrible.
They also didn't do any of the
It's all
weird,
good here.
the weird race swapping either. They actually did the accurate.
Exactly.
Like how they said the in M. Night Shyamalan, the Fire Nation were Indian, Water Nation were white people for whatever reason. Anyway, and that weird stuff. In this one, they actually do it very accurately. Like the Water Tribe are like these more Inuit like Native American-y type of looking people.
Yeah.
The Earth Nation is like is supposed to be like China basically in the thing. Granted, they do have like in like Omashu give it like some weird Middle Eastern vibes too, with like
But I feel
with
like they
Boomy
kind
being
of
weird, having a weird.
they kind of did that slightly in
turn,
the original animated
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I'm
too,
not dissing on it or
No,
anything.
exactly.
I'm just saying
they didn't do it where
they're like Tanner in some parts of
No,
the
I get what
things.
you're saying. Yeah.
That Ba Sing Se shit would basically probably be Beijing, but we'll find that out in next season probably. But
Yo.
then like the Fire Nation, is like the Japanese.
But you see
essentially.
influences there from those kind of
And then-
cultures almost. If you're saying.
And then Tibetan, the Tibetan airbenders type
yeah,
thing.
or how it mimics like things in our real.
Yeah.
culture.
Well, that's what it was meant to
exactly.
be originally. That type of thing. It's cool.
Not just to literally like
They-
be those people.
They did accurate
yeah, it's just
representation. That's
stupid.
what I like. It's just an accurate depiction of the characters, which I like.
No, I agree. Which goes back to the casting where like they did a great job. Like everyone looks like
They
the
would fit-
version
they
in the
would.
animated show.
Yeah.
And how they should look. I thought especially like Sokka, I thought was like that character was really excellently cast.
Yeah, there's a good balance between the straight-laced guy or
I thought he kind of
straight-faced.
sounded like him a little bit too.
Yeah.
even, like, where
It was
I
a good
kinda-
balance between straight-faced and comedic.
I think he
because
was like out
Sokka,
of the main three trio. I think I liked him the best actually,
He was very good. Actually, role for that.
and like he's not as goofy as like the original one, but like this actor, what's his name? Ian Owsley, who's Sokka.
Yeah.
He does a great job of just like
His portrayal.
it's a slightly more serious version of the character, but like he's still a goofball, and like those moments where he's being kind
His
of goofy
comedic
and
relief
stuff.
moments. Yeah.
Like you're really like, okay, he does Sokka pretty well. Like
Yeah.
so So yeah, I wanted to get into that, and the I think the last point I basically have is that the CGI is also drastically better here than it was in the movie.
The M. Night Shyamalan movie of
Like all the
floating
elements
rocks.
look great. You know, it's not just that some of them look pretty decent and the others look absolutely
everything looks
terrible.
really
Everyone
good.
looks good.
Visually going, everything does look good visually in this series.
And that's benefited by the sets and everything too. But like the CGI is actually great for some of these like areas like Omashu and like other stuff where like they're showing you these huge city shots and like it looks just like the animated show in live action, which is really cool, and it looks really smooth and fluid here. But yeah, definitely check this out, folks. Currently, I think the last thing is we get in that critic consensus thing like we've been kind of doing. So far, this basically has with IMDb and Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes like averaging all the like critic and user scores for this. This has like about an average rating right now. This isn't our rating, just the average rating from those is a 6.6. So would you say like we're above that rating, or were you about there, or?
I'd say it's a set. I'd round it to 7.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's like I would give this a
7.5 range to me.
Yeah, fucking Monarch is in the 7s. Fucking figure that out. Anyway,
Monarch somehow, Legacy of Monsters somehow is sitting at a 7
has a
right
better
now.
rating than this thing, which is, I'm not gonna lie, that's bullshit.
It really is.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I would say I'm above like what most people are with kind of the average right now.
Yeah. Like, this is definitely one of those things that if you're a big fan who knows everything, you'll enjoy a bit, but you just gotta turn your brain off a little bit during something because they change up some stuff. So
I think most longtime fans are gonna be kind of at like this rating or like a 7.
Yeah.
Or maybe even between a 6 and a 7.
Between a 6 and a 7, I think.
But I think
actual fans would be,
people who are new to it,
they'll
it's going to
probably
be more of like
7 to 8, maybe.
Yeah, 7 to 8 range, exactly, because it's new to them and they haven't seen anything Avatar yet. So like, even though it wasn't,
it's a good introduction.
Even though some idea might not be new to us, and we might even kind of go, man, that was like a lazier version of them doing that than the original show. To some new fan, they might be like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
because
they didn't see
they never got it.
Well, the original one, they did like a shit ton of character development through various episodes, which is one reason why I said I think they probably should have done more episodes, like personally, or slow down the pacing type of thing.
I think it should have been like 10
to the North Pole
10 to 13 episodes, and they should have been like 30 to 40 minutes each of them.
Yeah. Like if they did like 20-minute episodes, but made like 15 to 20 episodes of those 20 episodes, I think that would have worked very well.
Well, I think the problem for me here was
actually.
Because the original was like 20 minutes each episode, 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the problem here for me is that a lot of them go over like even double length of like an animated episode. Like most of these are 45. Like I said, on average, like 50 minutes. Some of them are like 45, but like that's like 2 of them, I think. And like
only 2 of them were in the 40 range, and then the others were all 50s.
55, or
I think
one's over an hour.
Yeah, the first episode was over an hour.
So yeah, on average they're like 50 to 55 minutes, and so it almost ends up coming out to like 3 episodes of like the animated one. And I think if they had gone just, like I said, like 10, 15 minutes shorter, like a 40-minute, it would have, if with us binge watching it, it wouldn't have been so hard. It wasn't hard to get through, but like I was kind of sitting there a little bored at some parts where it's just kind of like, okay, they're doing this part, like they're doing this key moment in Avatar, and they're kind of rushing through it. And
like if they kept it the more episodic feel, like the original, like still like linear story, but like still more episodic, where one place
they tackle
the other
one thing
episode,
in one episode,
and the other episode they're somewhere else.
Maybe it sets up one
the way.
thing for the next episode.
Like you can follow them on a map, like in the original one, technically, kind of like track it how it is just by episodes instead of just seeing them travel from place to place straight.
But yeah, definitely check this one out, folks.
Yeah, give it a good watch.
It's on Netflix, all 8 episodes now. I'd say we're definitely above the decent reviews that are out for it right now. Like with it being in like the high 6 range, I'd say we're a bit above that. But great cast, great sets, great CGI. Some complaints here with just kind of rehashing certain things and maybe not doing them so well, but I think everyone's going to have a different effect with that here, depending on how much they've watched Avatar, if they've even seen Avatar. So we'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts on it.
Yes.
All you other Poes out there.
And
Well, yeah, that about wraps it up for this one, Pose. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Spoiled It. We'll be back